welcome to Shard News. I'm your permanent host, Wolfords. War 129 is now in week 2, and Cheez has been up to some silly shenanigans. Many such shenanigans are featured in this video. Ops have been cut down this war as discussed in the pre-war meeting, letting our members embrace the wind or create their own content. Despite the lack of dedicated ops, pings are being sent out every day with activity from defending our lane, building up bases, scrooping, and a very special naval landing. All of which I'm excited to share with you. But before we get into that, I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge our birthdays. Happy birthday to our regiment members, Legion, Xbox Bros, and ZZ. If you see any of these Cheez members, make sure to wish them a happy birthday. Without further ado, let's get right into it. In the backline there's been an uproar of a certain kind of transport. Mass amounts of Scroop-Trains have been going up and down the tracks thanks to some of our members. Cheez Scroop-Trains have been dropping several trainloads of Scroop in all of our refineries, from Scurvy to Therizo, filling several queues a day of EMATs and BMATs. This is needed thanks to a fleet of warden pirates roaming the northern pond, as if the fucking One Piece was hidden somewhere north of Therizo, and every warden pirate was here in search of the fucking green treasure. Calm down, Wolford. You know you'd be doing the exact same thing if you were blue, okay? It's fine. It happens. You lose shit. It's whatever. This war, Cheez has found itself consuming more logic hurts than ever, as the average member spends more time on the front line up to whatever they feel like doing instead of the direction that officer-made operations bring. Make sure to set your MPFs every day, as the Scroop only moves when you do. This war, Cheez has decided on a looser kind of structure. Less planned ops and more opportunities for the free spirit, as many of our members choose to embrace the wind or create their own content. This includes a spontaneous defense of crow's nests, an arty operation on Broker Town, and tanking in the Palehouse, all of which I would love to cover in detail if I had more time. Since the start of the war, some of our Cheez members have been hard at work building what has been dubbed Fort Quesadilla. In Rumhold, Elite Taco and Jupiter have decided to build a storm cannon base for War 129, a war that at this point is probably going to be a warden sweep. How unfortunate. But nevertheless, here's a full tour of a very cool base.
Alright, so we're going to start up here up front. Rumhold is a challenge to build because it's on a hill. So this is our front-facing pieces. General idea is that if we encase it with defenses, it'll be hard for partisans to get to the cannon, which has been quite successful because we have yet to have a partisan breach our defenses. This piece right here is a very specific piece that was built intentionally to block the only way up on foot with that little staircase. So this little piece is Jupiter's brainchild, and it looks cute, and I love it. If we look over here, we just have the exterior defenses of the north side of the road, east side of the road. These extend all the way up to the bulwark and actually touches the bulwark. And if we look over here, these are the storm cannon pads. We have room to build 2 pads, which I slapped down. Wishful thinking and all. Each pad has 7 generators in them, and then can be connected to this battery backpack interchangeably. And the thought behind that is that you have one side connected to one gun. It turns if it needs to turn, it shoots its shells. Then you destroy that piece, put down the next piece, and rinse and repeat for the second gun. If you notice all the Howie traps, Jupiter and I were very paranoid about the Wardens ramming a battleship and shelling us, as they like to do. And so we have ourselves a gun pit, which is supposed to have a 150 gun, and everything's encased in Howies. Up here, we call it the terrace. It's absolutely chock full with defenses, but it's also intentionally kept open right here, so people can still access the sulfur mine. And then around here, we have kind of our little parking area where we park things instead of putting in a storage depot, as one does, and kind of have our defenses facing the breach and the bulwark. We have a very nice feature of Rumhold right here. This is the broken trench. You can walk in and walk out just fine, just like that. Isn't that neat?
So, like all projects in Foxhole, Taco had the idea of building up and, putting defenses in a town. And the idea just kept growing until it got too big. But it started out with a storm cannon. And we were talking about doing like a facility to make the new push guns, the ones that do the Fury shells. And we just, decided that's probably too much on top of everything else. So let's just cut it back to the original storm cannons. We initially had 3 or 4 locations chosen out as potential areas. We knew since that Cheez was going to be stationed in the East Coast that we wanted to be around, the rest of the regiment. If anything, just so we know, if we need QRF, it can get there. When we looked at it, Rumhold had everything that we really wanted. We had an open space for the cannons. It had area for defenses, and it's near a refinery, which, is huge. The hardest part definitely was the conch. Wouldn't you say? Well, what do you think the hardest part was, Taco?
For me, it's the waiting. I mean, day one, we put down the cores, the tech cores, and then we're waiting for tech. And then we get the tech, we put down the defenses, and then we're waiting on more tech. And then we finally get the tech, and then we almost have the war one. So that for me was the hardest part. It was just the waiting.
Yeah, it took probably a week just to get the bunker to tech the storm cannon tech. And then the other part to it is like, Rumhold has a bunch of hills, and you don't think about it until you're trying to build on them. So a lot of the design is based off of, what we were able to fit in while keeping the storm cannon pads in mind. I would like to make sure to call out to everybody who helped us out. Like RDM, Yimmy, Bob, yourself. Just thanks for the help. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for helping conch stuff. There were a couple other people that weren't in the regiment that helped out.
Big shout out to Threes Daily too, because he cooked so much concrete for us.
Yeah, Threes Daily came in so clutch. Like he came back from a year break, and then before we know it, he's at 13 pallets of conch up here for us one day. There's so many people I couldn't remember all their names. So if I don't call someone out, it's not anything personal. I want to say thanks to Cheez too for the opportunity to build this and to have the support, even if we didn't get a chance to use it, and maybe we'll get lucky and maybe the Wardens will come back and we will be able to use it.
What a cool project. If you helped anyone out this war, just remember how much the people in your regiment appreciate your help. I'm looking forward to more cool base projects from Cheez, but for now that's all for the Storm Cannon and this episode of Shard News. If you have any big projects you're working on, send me a DM. I would love to tour your base, if I have the time. I've been your host, and remember, something dies today.